Hey everybody, and welcome along to this week's edition of the Irish Golfer Podcast. Peter Finnan here, and joined by Leona Maguire. How are you getting on?
Good. It's nice to know what sunburn feels like now after 7 weeks without it.
Oh no, it's been a nice few days, hasn't it? Has been nice. Weather's back to the way it should be. Controversial few hours, so we've held off on the recording of this podcast until Ryder Cup Europe. Luke Donald had announced his picks. Bit mental.
Yeah. Look, going into the picks, you'd have said 5 of the 6 probably picked themselves, and you're thinking it's probably a toss-up between Nicolai Højgaard and Ludvig Åberg. And just by the way Donald had been talking about Åberg leading up to the Omega Masters there at the weekend, you'd have said if Åberg wins, he'll get in ahead of Højgaard. But to pick the two of them and leave out Adrian Meronk, for me, is absolutely baffling.
Yeah, there's something like I was shocked when I seen it. Now, I did get a few messages last night. Some bits had leaked to a few sources that I'd know, and yeah, they did say that they think Meronk has been left out, and I was shocked because like last week when we went through our teams, our probable teams, like we had most of it picked itself. Like it was just when it came down to those last few names, and I said before he even won, Åberg will get a pick, that he's been asked to come across for a reason. He finished, as a transport, he finished 5th and 1st in the 2 events that he played. But like, he was asked to come across for a reason. Never in a million years. I thought it was just a straight toss-up between him and Højgaard, between him and Nicolai. But for Adrian Meronk to be left out, there's obviously something, something in the stats, something in the numbers that Luke Donald wants in the matchups that he just sees in Højgaard that he doesn't see in Meronk, that he wants in the team and he wants as part of the team. But it's a very, very tough. Like, can you imagine that phone call that Luke Donald had to make?
Yeah, and you'd love to know how Meronk took it, and especially now this week at the Irish Open, how he plays will be interesting. But like, it's so incredibly harsh. Like, he's won 3 times in the last 15, 16 months. Obviously Irish Open champion, Australian Open at the start of the year, and then the Italian Open on the Ryder Cup golf course. You think of all the statements of intent any one of those players could have made. He made one of the biggest. But like, I came in here today driving over ready to kind of have my defence of Nicolai Højgaard ready and say how harsh it would be for him to miss out to Åberg. But for Meronk to miss out is just, it's astonishing really. Because I think after the Irish Open win last year, you'd have had him, singled out for a pick, and he played all 4 of the major championships as well this year, I think, as well. Yeah. So it's like, his European points list, I think he might have finished below Nicolai Højgaard, but he's been across the pond multiple times this year.
Yeah, and like, it's like when you think of that, like the pressure situations that Meronk has been in compared to Nicolai and compared to Åberg, in majors and in big events, winning big events down the stretch and stuff like that. Not taking anything away from the other lads, like they're both exceptional players, but I just thought all of the, I suppose what we're looking at it a totally different way. Like Luke Donald obviously has stats, figures, numbers that he backs up these decisions with, but like, it's just from a pure pressure point of view and a pure achievement, being in that pressure cooker, coming down the stretch in big events and being part of big events and feeling that pressure and performing under that pressure. I just thought Meronk was head and shoulders above the two of them, but like, I'm not picking the team.
Yeah, and in fairness to Meronk as well, he got into the top 50 for the first time there at the end of last year, and 63 was his lowest position this season, so he held that ranking really, to be fair, like 51 in the world now. Just looking through his performances, probably the one thing you could aim at him is consistency. Like, not particularly consistent. Like, his last 3 starts, T13 in Switzerland, 62nd in the Czech Masters, which, looking back now, is pretty damaging. 23rd in the Open, which is very good. Miscut at the Scottish. Then 15th, 3rd, miscut. 541, 21, miscut. Like, just miscuts thrown in there a lot of the time. So maybe like that's the only thing I can really look at from the face, but that might have gone against him, that little bit of consistency.
Yeah, but like, he's
won
Shane Lowry's
twice this year.
Cuts.
Yeah, and he's won twice this year as well.
It's tough. It's just extremely. And I know they can only bring 12 lads, but and you actually brought it up last week when we were talking about. I was like fairly gung-ho on Aberg getting in, and we might look silly in a couple of years if we didn't pick him. But you made a valid point. What about these guys that are like Mr. European Tours? They're week in, week out performing, then they qualify, go over, play their majors, and they're straight back in. And Moronk is one of those rank and file, like DP World Tour stalwarts that just turns up every week and performs. And yeah, he's not being rewarded for it. Like I just can't get my head around it. Like it's causing a bit of a stir online. Like I said, it's a tough call for Luke Donald to have to make. He can only bring 12 players, and there was always a battle between a few names. Aberg really did step up to the podium when he needed to, and that just made that. Then Bobby McIntyre doing what he did and actually securing his place, that means that you have to go and pick a Tommy Fleetwood and a Shane Lowry instead, and he didn't have many options, and it came down to a Moronk or Nikolai situation, and he went with Nikolai. But like Nikolai had a great Hero Cup at the start of the year as well. Like he performed well, and he obviously fit in well with the team and gelled well, and I just find it hard to get my head around.
It's incredibly harsh, and like you spoke there about him being a staple of the DP World Tour and not being rewarded for it. Like he's third in the race to Dubai as well. Like
it's mental.
It's mental. Like he's higher than Bobby McIntyre, higher than Hovland, obviously because he plays in America. But like Moronk is on course now to earn a PGA Tour card. In fact, he will earn a PGA Tour card. And you just wonder, like, was this his best chance to make a Ryder Cup team? Because like in 2 years' time, how hard is it to go over and play on the PGA Tour, get used to living over there? Like that could be 18 months of his career that he kind of sacrifices just by getting that transition, getting used to being over in America. Like this was probably his best chance he's going to have now for the next couple of editions, and he's not on the team.
Oh, it's rough. I can only imagine, like we said, imagine what he was like when he hung up that call. Like it was rage, and I'd say the rage just turned into tears. Like what more could he have done?
Nothing.
That's the thing. Like you win 3 times in the cycle. You win on the golf course. You show your stats. Like there's not an awful lot more.
These are big events. He's winning national opens.
Yeah. No, it's tough. Like so, like the 6 players. There was kind of 6 players on the. Obviously, Moronk has missed out. Rasmus Højgaard, your man Yannick Paul. He got off to an awful quick start there at Omega Masters. I thought he was going to ask a few questions. He was kind of the only one that could catch Bobby Mack. That didn't happen.
Like, yeah, it's mad to think like that. There's like your Yannick Pauls, your Torbjorn Olesens,
Victor Perez.
Victor Perez did it again. That's 2 Ryder Cups in a row. He just faded away.
Alex Noren.
Pressure got to him. Alex Noren faded. Like there was a lot of lads like Alexander Bjork was up there for much of the year as well. Langask. But like these are fellas that they're either going to go if they qualified automatically. And it's just weird to put Moronk in that category now after what's after happening. Because I think if McIntyre didn't qualify automatically, I wouldn't have picked him personally. So I think Moronk can feel extremely, extremely hard done by. But that being said, it is a very good team.
Yeah, it's probably what it boiled down to, isn't it? Like if Bobby McIntyre didn't make that automatic qualification, it would have been then a straight toss-up between Moronk and Bobby McIntyre. And yeah, that would have caused controversy itself. But like Bobby Mack earned his way into the team. Fair play to him. I'd agree with you. I still think it's a very strong team. And this is the thing, we're going exactly in the same way as what the Americans did last week with their team. Like I think yes, it's a really strong team. I would think Moronk adds more to the team than some that are in there. With the Americans, I think they actually have their strongest team. I think like the whole Justin Thomas thing and how that's transpired, and Keegan Bradley and guys like that being left out.
Keegan Bradley's another guy. Like him and Moronk should have their own Ryder Cup. Just go off and play a weekend themselves.
The match. They should do the match at the same time. The Friday morning the Ryder Cup's kicking off. Play like someone needs to put up like $10 million or something. Like go the whole match. Big pile of money. Yeah, that's a good idea. I could buy into that. But no, I do think we have a very strong team. When you look at it top to bottom, there's a nice blend of players in there. It will be a good team room. Yeah, Yeah, I just think this is going to be a tight Ryder Cup. I'm hoping it's going to be a tight Ryder Cup. I know from being to Marco Simone last year, the sort of the course, the way they're going to set it up, what they're going to do, it won't be quite Le Golf National in Paris, like as in a total home setup. They're going to let the shackles off a little bit, but this golf course will have a massive say in who wins the Ryder Cup, and it'll play a huge part in it. Like, they haven't won a Ryder Cup in Europe for 30 years. The Americans. So, like, it is hard coming across here. And they've copped on, like, they've gone for that team dynamic the Americans have of, that's why JT is in the team over Keegan Bradley. But, like, yeah, like, Bradley can feel, Bradley and Moronk are just two guys. But every Ryder Cup we have that. Someone's really disappointed. But these guys, I don't think there was an awful lot more that either of them could have done to actually make the teams or to sway a captain away from a pick of the people that they were bringing.
Yeah, and just listening to you there, like, and I think Keegan Bradley spoke of this himself about kind of this popularity contest that he thinks the Ryder Cup is starting to become. And you'd wonder, like, there is a bit of a style over substance kind of an element to both of the wildcard picks. Like, Moronk, for as good as he is, he's slow, his pre-shot routine is deliberate, to say the least. He's not a kind of a flashy kind of a guy, even though he does wear your bright coloured shirts.
Yeah.
Whereas, there's a real X factor about Nikolai Højgaard and particularly Aberg as well. Like, Luke Donald's a massive fan of Aberg, and I think he was always gonna pick him when he kind of played with him in America and brought him over. He had the two vice captains playing with him there last weekend.
That's it. And can you imagine the pressure Aberg was on?
He was being groomed.
Totally being groomed. Like, you'd imagine the pressure he was on his own head. Like, you're asked to come across, right? Come and play in these two events and show me. And he finishes 5th and then wins his first event. Like, he's only played 2 events. Aberg now becomes the first player in Ryder Cup history to play a Ryder Cup without having a major appearance. So he's never teed it up in a major, obviously. And
it's like bringing Theo Walcott to the World Cup when he was like 17 or something.
Yeah, but like he turned out to be a savage player, But I did say last week, I just think if we didn't bring Aberg, we might be made to look silly in a couple of years, because I think he is destined for John Ram style. Like, he will be by the next Ryder Cup. He will be inside the top 10 in the world. I don't think there's any question about that.
Like, it's good to see, because watching the PGA Tour and how many times the commentators wax lyrical about these young gung-ho Americans, and some of them are quite average as well, and say, they're just made for the PGA Tour straight out of college. Like, regardless of how he gets on in the Ryder Cup, it's actually nice to have a European now in that category.
Absolutely, and we've a few of them. Like, Ram is still, he's not around that long.
Feels like he is.
It feels like he's around forever, but we've so many. I think a good crop of young kids coming through.
2 years after the whole thing in Wisconsin, you'd have been very worried about where Europe are going, where they're going to get a couple of pacings before they kind of turn a corner. And I still expect America to probably win.
Do you?
At the end of the month? Yeah. But I think it'll be a lot closer than maybe first feared. Like, I think Europe have a really strong 1 to 8 that can definitely go to war with, like, all 12 Americans.
I think, we're underdogs, but I think we'll do them. It's just it's the magnitude of what the course is going to have a massive effect on how this is played out, and they're always favourites coming across here.
Yeah, we everyone's nearly playing well at this stage for Europe as well.
That's the thing.
You can hang your hat on the likes of Fleetwood, Hatton, Straka, Larry Rose, McIlroy, Ram, Fitzpatrick, Hovland, those lads to play all five sessions. Yeah,
and you look at them all from a fitness point of view, from an age, youth, experience. What they're at, we have the perfect blend of just that young, I don't give a shit mentality. Aberg, Nikolai, they'll just go at everything. Even Bobby McIntyre, they won't wilt. I don't think our lads are fighters. Looking at it, they won't wilt. The Americans are the same, but there is that expectation on the Americans. Like, they are coming over here expecting to win. Their public back in the States, they just show blatant disregard for the European Tour. They always have for the DP World Tour. Like, half of them won't have heard of the Højgaards. They won't have. They won't, and that's they'll be dismissed. I would fancy like an Aberg or any our rookies.
There's no unknown quantity to them.
Yeah.
As well, and especially Aberg and Hogard. Like, you could pair them with one of the star turns of the European team and just let them go out and make birdies in a 4-ball.
Can you imagine McIlroy and Aberg?
I think that could happen.
Yeah, no, so do I. I'm looking at the thing going that 100%.
Because McIlroy's done well with rookies before. Like, he did a great partnership with Peters, was it?
Yeah.
2016, I think it might have been. Like, so McIlroy has form playing with rookies. I think it would be great. It would be a real showcase kind of a pairing as well.
Absolutely. I'm getting excited for the Ryder Cup. I just like the balance of our team. I do think they have hit the nail on the head with their team, as in they've learned from the mistakes of the past of just bringing along the 12 statistically best individual players, and that's why Justin Thomas got the nod. Like, he undoubtedly makes their team a better team. Statistically, based on the last 6 months, he might make it a worse team if you're looking at strokes gained this and stats around that. But like, if you just, for team makeup, for who he can be paired with, for what they can do, Justin Thomas is a dangerous man going to the Ryder Cup over here. And that's pretty much the exact team that, like, put us to the sword the last time in Wisconsin. So, there's a few ins and outs on it, but, like, they have some serious experience coming across.
They do, yeah. And, like, you say that, but I don't really fear the Americans too much. Like, you wouldn't fear Sam Burns too much on paper, obviously.
Even Scotty Scheffler,
you wouldn't fear. I know Wyndham Clark and Brian Harman are major champions, but they're rookies. This is completely new for them. Ricky Fowler as well, been out of the scene for a while. Justin Thomas hasn't played well. Scotty Scheffler hasn't played well. Schauffele
on the greens,
Schauffele is as flaky as a dandruff fella with the head on. Like, Jesus Christ. This is obviously all just hype talking on paper, but, like, it's not as intimidating as I thought it would be, and that's obviously because I think the European team is better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, no, I fancy our chance. You're still pipping them to win, though. You think they'll beat us?
Just about, yeah. But it'll be tight. There'll be none of this 10-6 kind of crack going into the singles.
Well, we'll play this back now next month.
I'll change my mind by
with
next
a bit
week.
of luck. You're like me. You're hanging around me too much. I'm the flakiest with stuff. I know. I think we'll do them. I think it'll be close, but I think we'll do them. But I think that's it for the Ryder Cup stuff. You had a bit of a USA moment yourself at the weekend, so you're literally fresh back last night from...
They only sing when they're winning.
Yeah, from Edinburgh, from the Walker Cup. What was it like? Your first Walker Cup?
I knew you'd ask me this, and I'm trying to avoid all these cliched words, but I'm not going to say it was unbelievable, or it was just incredible.
Yeah.
Like, better than any professional tournament you'd ever go to in your entire life. Like, we have the Irish Open coming up this week, and waiting in the airport and on the bus back from the Dublin airport to the car park, listening to, like, Irish people who are coming back and talking about their experience. And one guy said, I just couldn't be bothered going to the Irish Open, having to be restricted in behind ropes. People going to see McIlroy and Lowry this week. Depends where you're standing, you won't get a look at them.
It'll be 10 deep.
Walker Cup, you can walk along the fairway, borderline chat to these guys as well. You can look in their bag, touch their bag, whatever. Like, when they're putting, you are literally standing on the fringe of the green. It's an unbelievable experience. And, like, yeah, just like Ryder Cup is coming up as well, but Walker Cup is the greatest thing he could ever go to. Genuinely think that.
That's
it was unbelievable.
It's good. It is. It's a serious experience, the Walker Cup is. And to know that these guys, like, you're watching the Sargents and these type of guys that you know are going to be there, as in some of the best players in the world over the next 3 or 4 years. Like, some of those guys that you watched yesterday and over the weekend will feature in the next US Ryder Cup team.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not often you get to walk alongside a world number one for 4 or 5 days. Like, is it? How many people can say that?
Yeah.
But it was interesting going over to St Andrews. I obviously played it last year, and I went to the Open then later that summer. I always feel bad in saying this. I never really got the place. Never really hit me what it was all about. But last weekend it did. I think it was just, the atmosphere was just outrageous. The whole experience, the fact the golf course is shut down for 20 players.
You're seeing it as true as form on a Walker Cup as well. Like, the stands are great for... I always find when I've been to St Andrews, the stands are unbelievable, and the whole setup for an Open Championship at St Andrews, and it's breathtaking. But you don't get that sort of eerie feeling of the golf course, the straight out loop back in. It's hard to put it all together when the stands aren't there and it's literally just the boards on the tee box. That's it. One board and a hole number.
Like,
and it's so natural and rugged and penal.
Yeah. Like, even though the rough was down, it was wispy and it was bouncing, it was fiery. The golf course is very fiery, so you could go into a lot of trouble. But like you spoke there about the grandstands, it's not a great viewing golf course, but there was just one loop, 7, 11, 10 and 8. All those greens are kind of around each other. So there was one little kind of a shack kind of a thing that had seats on it, and there was maybe 400 or 500 people there. And it was just like this amphitheatre of noise because there was so much going on. Like, you could be watching someone on the teeing off the 11th, but a puck goes in on the 8th, and you can cheer for that. Puck goes in on the 7th, a great shot goes into 11. Like, it was just that little experience that was just unbelievable.
No, I have to say, from an experience of it, I know you're talking now from being there, I was so disappointed in the TV coverage of it. I don't know, did anyone remark to you about how poor the like?
I had a couple of people say they couldn't see it.
Yeah, like, people were messaging me going, how do I watch the Ryder Cup? And I said, or how do I watch the Walker Cup? And I literally messaged them back saying, just follow our Twitter or our Instagram. I said, until Sky Sports pick it up. I don't know. It was shockingly bad. Like, Sky Sports, I pay it. I have a dodgy box, yes, for the US streams and all that, but I still pay my Sky Sports subscriptions. And like, there's a golf channel. This is the biggest amateur golf event on the planet, and they don't go to it until the singles on Sunday. It's behind a red button for some of it. I struggled to watch any of it on the first day until it was a highlights reel and stuff like that. So without you being sending stuff in, I just thought, yeah, it was a shambolic.
Highlights package on here on the TV beside us, and they just skimmed through the results of the foursomes on Sunday, went straight to the singles. The foursomes is the best. The experience of watching the foursomes was outrageous because the crowd is so much more concentrated. Like, it's almost like being in your own little stadium around each match. And then for the 12, the crowd kind of gets scattered and it's not as good. Well, it's the 10 matches, sorry, not 12. But like, with the 4 foursomes matches both days, it was just an outrageous experience.
Who impressed you the most? Getting up close and personal to them.
Who impressed me? The Irish guys all did well, first and foremost. John Goff, very impressive. Like, to go out and be like the leading GB&I player in the rankings, that's a lot of pressure, given the whole like furore around the Americans obviously being superior. Gordon Sargent's very impressive. Like, his swing, he's only gone to the top swing and he's already hit the ball. Like, he's rapid. It's the fastest golf swing I've ever seen. Nick Dunlap, very impressive, very gutsy player. Preston Summerhays is clinical. Yeah, like,
he's an assassin.
He is an assassin. He's really, really clinical. Dylan Menant is tidy as well. Like, he did very well. But like, the Americans, they all kind of have similar swings as well. They all kind of bump the left hip going back and they're gone. So it was tough looking through some videos and like, this is the same person, but it's just not.
Yeah.
From a GB&I point of view, the two Scots, Callum Scott and Conor Graham, like, that first morning, they were outrageous. And the crowd following them was just incredible.
Yeah.
And that was really, it was a bold move from Stuart Wilson to pick a 16-year-old and to put them together then as well, two Scots, like, but they were really, really impressive. He
did. The only way that it was a bold move to pick a 16-year-old, but then how unfortunate it was that Stuart Hagestad got his hands on him in the singles because he absolutely schooled him.
Yeah, there was no way Hagestad was losing that game. And
he didn't even, Hagestad wasn't even at his best. He didn't make the mistakes that the kid made. And that was evident in that. There's like, summing up the whole thing, we'll get into the Irish lads now in a second, but like, day one, I thought we had them on day one. They turned the screw, and like, the difference was, I suppose, day one, 6 matches went down to the 18th on day one of all the matches, and GB&I won 4.5 points from those matches.
Yeah.
We claimed a lot of points late on. Day two, that just did not happen.
No,
it's
Americans,
we wilted.
Americans, a lot of their matches they won quite comfortably.
Yeah, but and even the ones that went down, though, the pressure that was on our lads when it was coming down, like, I did feel sorry for a few of ours. They just looked a little bit more nervous, and the occasion got to them a little bit more then. And it's very few of them, I'd say about the young guy against Hagestad, I would say that Barkley Brown just really struggled. Like, he should have comfortably won his match, and that was a pivotal turning point on the leaderboards throughout the day, you know?
Yeah, like, the Irish guys, and this was reflected in the selections for the final day singles, they impressed really, really well. They were the difference on the first day. So Wilson put four Irish in the last 5 matches. So you're expecting one Irish person to have a chance to hold the winning putt or make the winning point, whatever it might be. Puts Barclay Brown and John Goff kind of at the top 5 matches with the 2 Scots and then James Ashfield. So you're hoping, worst case scenario, you get 2 points at least from Barclay Brown, from John Goff.
And we should have done it.
John Goff gave it his all, in fairness to him. He just made a mistake
very
on
uncharacteristic
17.
on
It was
17.
uncharacteristic.
Very uncharacteristic.
But Barclay Brown, like, you'll be kicking yourself.
Oh, stop. No, I actually felt for him because, and we've all been there playing golf, when you just cannot feel the putter. Like, he had putts there to do things and he just didn't trust himself. Your whole game just
3
goes
up with 4 to play.
Yeah.
Bogeyed 15, double 16, bogeyed 17, and then just the most ridiculous 3-putt on 18 you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Like, I was standing there on the side of the green and I just couldn't believe what I was watching, because him and Dunlap, they're about equidistant. They had to get it stepped out to see who goes first. And Dunlap leaves it maybe, 5-6 feet short?
6-footer, yeah.
And then Barclay Brown leaves it double that distance.
10 foot,
and the put down was nearly worse as well. There was just no conviction in it whatsoever. And actually, in fairness to Dunlap, when your man gives you a bone, go and take it, and he got the putt.
Yeah.
And I was like, credit to him. But that was the winning and losing of it, because Caleb Surratt had already beaten Callum Scott 3-2. Hagestad had beaten Conor Graham 3-2. And Preston Summerhays kind of hammered James Ashfield. So at that stage, GB now are very much up against it. And like to only get a half point out of Barclay Brown all week and in that match felt like a loss. And then obviously just kind of like there was a domino effect from there. The Americans just steamrolled. They
upped their game though. Late on, you could tell I really thought that because we had a bit of a lead going in, and then when I seen the weather, like totally different wind on the second day, something that even though they were there a while, the Americans, it was a wind that wasn't there for the previous week, so they wouldn't have played that golf course in that wind, and they still rose to the occasion. They did damage in the 4 balls in the morning, or the foursomes in the morning.
That's where it was won and lost.
Yeah,
like GB and I had 3-point lead going in. Had won both sessions, and I knew kind of if America turned this round, win the session 3-1, they'll go on to win it by 5 points. So they won it by 3 in the end. But
it was such fine margins.
The foursomes matches again were tight. John Goff and Matt McLean were beaten 2-1. Conor Graham, Callum Scott were beaten on the 18th after battling back really, really well. Like, they were 2 down after 12 holes and got it to all square with 3 to play. And then you had James Ashford, Alex Maguire beaten 2-1 again. They were well down at one point. They were 3 down turning, got it back to 1. And then Liam Nolan and Mark Power were absolutely sensational. They came back from 1 down with 4 birdies in a row to win 4 and 3. Like, at one point in that foursomes, GB were down all 4 matches.
Yeah.
So they were really, really up against it in that session. And they almost kind of scraped away with a 2-2 or even a 2.5, 1.5, which would have made a huge difference. But to lose 3-1 was a killer.
And it's so, like, when you add it all up at the end, like we're going through, like the pressure these guys are under, the microscope they are under. I was so, it's a weird thing to say, but so proud of the 3 Irish lads in how they performed. Or 4 Irish lads, sorry.
5.
5 if you get Goff. But like, no, I was. How they stood up and to be counted all week, like, the pressure that they're all under. But, and some of them knowing this is like, like Mark Power, what he did, raising the Irish flag, emotional, like very emotional moment for him to go out and do what he did in the golf course, win a singles match then as well at the end, knowing that you're ending your amateur career,
and knowing that as far as the Walker Cup goes, your race has been run. Like Matt McLean as well had to hold a 5-6 footer on the last to scrape a half and win the hole. Like to be mentally still tuned in to do that, I think says a lot about the person.
Yeah. It was so, I had to laugh at Mark Power. There's no way them 2 boys meant to put their drives on the last hole down that close to the out of bounds on the right.
Yeah, it was shaky, but he was there on the Saturday as well, and he got up and down. Like,
with that front pin, like, it's the only place to miss. It's a good place to miss, but like, you're fighting, you're taking on a lot. But no, it was so good. Like them all with Alex Maguire as well. Like, I do you know what? One of the Irish guys that just stood, I thought Nolan was
he was superb. He was unbelievable.
He was flawless. Like, he looks an absolute baller, like a machine. Of all the players that I've seen over the last decade coming through, Irish-wise, there's something special about Liam Nolan.
The game face on him,
yeah,
is just
no,
ridiculous,
there is.
isn't it?
There
like
really
he
is.
was loving it, and this goes like to show, like a lot was made about the rankings, like USA having everyone top 20, 8 of the top 10, but like the rankings are like so top heavy in USA's favour because of all the big collegiate events.
Yeah.
Like, how's Liam Nolan supposed to get the rankings when he's in college in Galway?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
but that's what I mean.
These guys are every bit as good.
It makes
on their
it so
day.
much. It makes it so much better with him that he's not mixing it with those guys all the time. But when he's thrown into that spotlight, he just looked as though he belonged, and he will belong there for a long time to come. Like, I just expect such big things for him. I think he will learn so much from this experience. I don't know what way the other guys will pan out. We know, like, Mark Powers going to turn pro.
He's playing this week, his first pro start in the Irish Open.
Exactly. Then we're looking at, Alex Maguire. He's a bit of college left to do. He'll probably turn pro early next year unless he gets his card through Q School or stuff like that. Matt McLean, I don't know, will he turn pro actually?
Matt McLean's going back to the day job after this.
Optometry, they're back to looking at people's
back down
eyes.
to earth, yeah. But like, I know GB and I lost, but like, from an Irish point of view, there was such a feel-good factor. So many great stories. Like, everyone won a point,
Yeah.
which I think is class. And they all kind of, particularly on the start, they stole the show. Like,
Yeah.
Alex Maguire was unbelievable with James Ashfield.
He's
like
so
the
gritty,
the
isn't he,
putt he
Maguire?
held on 18, like,
Yeah.
under that pressure. And this again,
The emotion
like, you
he let
spoke,
out.
like, you have to earn these points. Like, Matt McLean, John Goff, there was such a contrast in emotion, like, from McLean and Goff puffing at the cheeks because David Ford missed a sitter really to snatch a half from them, and you're kind of going, oh, jeez, thank God. And then Maguire, it's a complete polar opposite, like poulter bug eyes, the arms bulging, everything, like when he holds that 15-footer.
It was such a tip of the hat as well to how much the captains looked at how strong the Irish guys were, that they lined them all up last to go out, because they were fully expecting that those pairings were handed in, or that format was handed in the night before. So that's before the morning 4 balls were done. So like the level of trust that he had in the Irish lads, that they were like literally all the anchor matches, that if it comes down to this, these guys as a pod feeding off each other, a shot ahead of each other, so where you can draw off each other, and
like, it was
the level of trust on it.
It was good
phenomenal.
management. It just unfortunately didn't pan out that way. But you could see if GB and I got through those first 5-6 matches, that like there would be this like kind of separate nearly tournament going on itself with the 4 Irish in the last
Ireland
5
against
matches.
America.
Yeah, honestly, it kind of would have been. But just before we move on, like the comebacks Mark Power and Liam Nolan put on Saturday in their singles match were just simply scandalous.
Yeah.
Like, Mark Power was 3 down after 11 holes, and he birdied 12, birdied 14, bogeyed 17, and birdied 18 to win 1 up. Like, and then Liam Nolan, 2 down, 5 to play, plays his last 5 holes in 3 under par.
Yeah. I just really hope, like, for Mark Power, I've always had him penciled down as someone that will go on to big things, but I think Mark Power this week will hit the ground. Like, we've seen it in Irish Opens before, where, I remember back in Lahinch, like, Robin Dawson made 70, 80 grand. Like, it was a Rolex Series event, went in, put in a good round. I just fancy Mark Power to do something special at the K Club this week. Just he'll get it. I'm not going to say he's going to win a tournament in his professional debut, but he won't be phased. And the golf he's after playing in the last year, and the golf he's coming off the back of in the last week, there's a man that will go in there and will mix it, and like, don't be surprised if he's there or thereabouts.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the only thing, and then with John Goff playing as well, the only thing you'd worry about the two of them, just the emotional toll that the week just gone will take on them.
Yeah,
but then again, for Mark, being his home event as a pro, like, it's dream stuff. So, and like, he's an adrenaline player, like, as well. Yeah. Like, he feeds off good vibes. So I can see him going well this week as well.
I wonder who he has in the bag this week as a pro event. Yeah, be a strange one. I think he had so Leona's caddy. He had, so when he played because he played in Galgorm in the Irish Open behind closed doors, and he had Dermot Byrne on the bag. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he has this week. But no, one to look out for if you're getting down to the K Club. Right, enough on Walker Cup. the Americans won anyway. We can end it with that.
Yeah.
It was a pretty dominant display on the last day in the single. Things fell for them. They looked the more experienced players when they get into the heat of the moments, you know, this way. As an overall team, as an overall group, they kicked on.
Yeah, they did. But like, just a final note, actually, Mark Parr, like, bowing out in his amateur career, he sits joint second now for GB&I with the highest winning percentage in foursomes, and he's third with the highest winning percentage in singles as well. And like, he top scored for GB&I in his 2 of his Walker Cup years. Like, it's a fabulous record.
Oh, it's unreal. It is unreal. It's serious. Like, he comes from serious stock. Like, he's just he is going to kick on. But no, that's good. Right. I don't know. Did you see much of the KPMG Women's Irish Open?
You know what part of it I saw.
No, right. We have to start this with the positives, right? A final round 62. Denmark's Semilia Sonderby fires away into a playoff with 11 birdies in the final round, like in her 18 holes. She even had a bogey in there as well. Like, the bogey was laid on, it was on her 14th, but like, she done some damage around the middle of the round, got herself into a 3-way playoff, and claims the KPMG Women's Irish Open. Her maiden professional win, like, stuff dreams are made of. Yes, that is the headlines, but Anne Van Dam has...
Oh, it's so funny.
Like, but you know, like, it is mad, right? So Anne Van Dam, I actually have a lot of sympathy for her. Before we get into the playoff and what happened, she had this tournament wrapped up, I thought. When she was going into the final round, like, she was clear, she was heading on, bit of a mixed bag in the final round. I think she'd four bogeys, 5 birdies in her final round. Like, didn't, mixed it up a bit. Missed a very short putt on the 17, like a 3 or 4 footer on 17, and meant she had to birdie the last to get into a playoff. Mindset was totally changed. It was cruel. It's like she lost last year. She lost out in a playoff by a shot. She 3-jagged the last green. I was there on the Sunday. 3-putted the last green to miss out in the playoff by a shot. And sick. And then I just thought she was going to make amends this year, but no. She gets into the playoff, being driven. For anyone that hasn't seen it, like, you're living under a rock. But driving down.
Why are they going up that way?
I know,
You have a clear path up the fairway to the tee box.
So driving up, and she actually lifted the rope herself.
Yeah.
And then, like, clotheslined the shit out of her own bag. You won't just put the foot to the accelerator, and that was it. Clubs just snapped off. That was the second driver she'd snapped that week as well. She'd broken her driver earlier in the week.
And it's her biggest weapon.
It's absolutely her biggest weapon. But she still hit 3 wood. Like, I don't know what she was cursing at. When, like, I know she's cursing, but, like, I don't know, like, the official that was driving her up, I don't know, was she trying to blame the driver or who?
You lifted the rope.
Yeah, she lifted the rope herself and let it snap back down, sort of way. So, but it was just... But she dusted herself down. She was fuming. Went back up, got 3 wood, hit a lovely 3 wood. I think she had 6 iron into the green. And left herself like a 15-foot eagle putt and didn't hold it. And that was it, game over. But yeah...
So unlucky.
You gotta feel a lot of sympathy for Anne Van Dam, but... You absolutely have to tip your hat to Sonderby. She just
100%. This is a real kind of horses for Dromoland. It's a real horse for courses kind of an event, isn't it? Just looking at the leaderboard this year, a few names you recognise up there last year. Obviously Van Dam, Dimmock as well. Spilkova, obviously a very good defence, finishing 8th. Ursula Wikström, I think she made the playoff last year, or maybe missed out by a shot. I can't quite remember. Christine Wolf was up there again. Obviously Maguire, top 15. 4 rounds under par, like, and it's just, and then you still felt it just wasn't happening for her at all.
Who, Leona?
Yeah. Even though she was 4 rounds under par.
It's a tough week for her. Like, most of her work is off the golf course.
The demands on her are huge.
Yeah, it's massive, and everything. Literally, when she rocked up there from the Monday, she's just whisked off, taking photographs down on the cliffs of Moher with Tourism Ireland. Then every day she was doing stuff. She had the books for birdies thing she was doing with KPMG. She was doing stuff with Playing Pink. She was doing stuff.
Like, that takes it out of you.
Yeah, like even the American Irish Fund. Like, she was donating stuff to getting photographs of stuff that she had donated to local schools, and she was the only one that had her own press conference, like a round table press conference before the event. And I'd say she has to have signed 5,000 autographs throughout the week. Has to have. Because she did not walk by a child.
No.
And that is one thing that it's one thing we're so blessed about with Irish players. From top to bottom, no matter male, female, whatever, there is not one that I could name that will not give back more than they pretty much take out of the game. And Leona, she's tournament host pretty much, you know. She ran the show, and yeah, it's a very, very good, it's tied 14th, it's 8 under par, but she spoke extremely highly. She is the spokeswoman for this event. What she said afterwards, so there was a big announcement on the other day on, obviously that's Dromoland done and dusted. They've brought this thing back. They've resurrected it, them, and Forefront Sports put it on the map again, and it has gone from strength to strength, and now they passed the baton on to Carton House. And Leona came out and she was speaking so well about it. She said, I think Dromoland deserve a serious amount of credit. She said they've put on a world-class event 2 years in a row. Carton House has a massive, massive shoes to fill. I don't envy them one bit. I think Dromoland has done an absolutely fantastic job. Even to listen to the LET girls, this is probably the best event they play, bar the majors, and I'd even argue that this is better than some of the majors I've played this year. Again, I don't envy Carton House. They've obviously held a couple of men's events a few times with Irish Opens and stuff, but they have very, very, very big boots to fill. And I totally agree with her. What everyone down in Mark Nolan, Eamon O'Donnell, the whole team down in Dromoland, what they've done start to finish with Keane Brannigan and Forefront Sports. This tournament has now become a huge part of the Irish golf calendar, and it will go from absolute strength to strength.
Yeah, fabulous golf course, fabulous event, run by brilliant people. We obviously had Mark down there this last week at it. I was gutted to have missed it. In an ideal world, it would have been on this week, or the walk-up would have been last week, or vice versa. But I was there last year, and it's just incredibly well run. Even for media, even the pre-tournament stuff, it's just so much there to do. So much, they look after you incredibly well. Yeah. And Carton House have, while the course might well be fabulous, there's so much more to running an event, just having a good golf course, how you treat people, things to do, how you look after the players. Just a massive, massive shoes to fill, as Leona said.
Stuff for families to do, stuff for kids to do.
Yeah, so much stuff going on. Yeah. And this is a tournament that's had 2 fantastic years on its return to the schedule. It's really important Carton House get it right now as well next year to keep this going.
I would, this event has done more in the 2 years that it's there to grow the game than any other event. I'd include the main, the Irish Open, the Dubai Duty Free Irish Open, Horizon Irish Open. It's a tough tournament to get into. It's expensive to go to. The range is kind of unapproachable. Players are it's a different level, a different feel of disconnect, I would say. The main men's Irish Open, like you're saying, you went to the Walker Cup, you were filled full of absolute...
Don't really want to go this week, to be honest with you.
But that's the thing. But what the KPMG Women's Irish Open and Dromoland have done over the last 2 years is made golf approachable for... I would go beyond. It's not just aimed at women and girls. There are young boys, their first golf event will be the KPMG Women's Irish Open, and they get in so close to players, and they'd nearly be disappointed when they go to the Irish Open and they just can't see McIlroy because
unfortunately,
it's the unfortunate part. It's not Rory's fault.
But obviously I wasn't there this week, but my moments from last year's event was Rebecca Gardner goes in, signs her card, first things first, back down the fairways to watch Leona. That's just class.
Yeah. And looking at, so again, another part of this is how many of our home players got into this field. We were saying at the start of the week, I think we had 10 players in the field. So
and
low
how many
am
of them
for the week.
performed really well,
that's
too.
The thing, low am for the week. Sarah Byrne, it's her second time teeing it up in this event. She ended an unbelievable week as low amateur for the week. She posted 4 under, 2 under in the final round, 4 under for the tournament, take low amateur honours, and 4 of the 7 amateurs that teed it up made the cut, which is class to see. And yeah, Sarah Byrne straight back into it. There's no rest for the wicked. As we speak, like it's Monday, she's flying back to Miami now. Her college starts. She's her first tournament next week. So she's straight back out having it. And like she's had some summer when she's come home. She's enjoyed the summer home. Highlight, obviously, she won a second Irish close in Connemara. That coupled with like the LET Access series event she's playing, and now she's looking forward to taking that form stateside again, taking what she's done at the KPMG Women's Irish Open. So no, it's been absolutely class. It's been totally good. The only one thing I'd like to see, like with all this, and we talk about how good it is, how great it is, the platform, I could not believe when I was looking at the payout.
Yeah, it's 60 grand for
60
the winner.
grand for winning an event. That's like, it's a lot of money, but like that probably costs her $5 grand to come across here. Stay, caddy, food, travel, all that sort of stuff. Like 60 grand first, 30 grand second, and then like fourth, Kirsten Rugley, 18 grand. Annabelle Dimmock, 13.5 grand for fifth. Like, Leona, we're saying Leona.
It's one of those, you don't finish in the top 10, you're probably making a loss for the week.
Leona finished tied 14th, and she made €6,800.
That's nothing to her.
It's poor. But it's not, it's just a poor way, like, that.
She could give that 6 grand to Dunsany again, like she did there during the week.
But it is like, that's it. Like Leona rocked up this week, gave 25 grand to different schools, with the American Irish Partnership, and she gives away 25 grand and makes 6,800. Now I know she's not giving that out of her own pocket, but she's still involved in doing it. Like there's some way, but it's we need to do more on the LET. We just need to get prize funds up. When you look at what some of these women are playing for in the majors, they're playing for proper money, big money. And I see it more than not. Like it is such a two-tiered system now in women's golf of the haves and the have-nots. And we need to support, like something needs to happen with the LET to get prize funds up, because the appetite is there. Like that commercial experience for any sponsor that was involved with the KPMG Women's Irish Open it's blatant to see how good of an experience, how good of an event, and we need to pay the players more for doing what they're doing. They're putting on the show.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you might even get some bigger names across as well.
Yeah.
And the money wouldn't have to go up that much for that to happen either.
It's surely they can see the benefits of, I don't know what the lifespan is of the World Invitational as a like LPGA co-sanctioned event. Why can't this not be a co-sanctioned event with the LPGA?
This could be huge.
It could be absolutely off the charts. Strap this in as a three-way swing with the Scottish Open, the Open Championship, like they tried to do with the men, and pop Ireland into that as well, and see this event grow and flourish. It would be class.
Like outside of the majors and probably the Scottish Open as just mentioned, this probably even now is the biggest event on the LET, but this could be seismic. Yeah,
it could be massive. It should be. It's like it's their Wentworth, sort of way. It's turned into that sort of a spectacle, which is mad to say because we've only had two of them. It was gone for 10 years. It was disappeared off the radar. So no, fair play to everyone involved in that. We'll stop waxing lyrical about that, but no, I just thought it deserves such respect in what everyone has done for it, and fair play to everyone in Dromoland and on to Carton House next year. Right, roundup. What else are we looking at? I see Johnny Caldwell has a strong finish this week on the Challenge Tour. He's
going well again, isn't he?
He's pumped his way back into it. I think I was looking at the Race to Mallorca rankings this morning. We were saying a few weeks ago about it was Conor Purcell was the only one inside the top 50 and pushing on. He had a good result, kicked himself up near the top 30. He's knocking on the door of it. Caldwell I think he's up to 57th now in the Race to Mallorca rankings. Finished strong. These little things that we say on these, and why I'm looking at Johnny, which he wasn't doing last year when he had his main card. He finished with 3 birdies.
Yeah, he's finishing well.
He's finishing rounds well. So his Sunday afternoon, no matter where you are in the field, once you're playing on Sunday, if you finish with 3 birdies, you're making serious inroads.
You're making progress.
And you're making points. The money's irrelevant. You're making points. You're gathering your way up. And that got him just outside the top 20 for a finish of a week that he didn't really kick on, but he'll come away with a good taste in his mouth. And then you're facing into the K Club. He's in the Irish Open when he won. He won the Christy O'Connor Trophy. He'll have a big So he won the Christy O'Connor Trophy down at Headford last month, so on the Challenge Tour as leading Irish player. So he'll take a big crowd from Clandyboy down. That'll be savage. You know, that will be good.
Hope he can make the most of the
I'd love,
opportunity.
because like Caldwell, I'd love to see him paired with Rory McIlroy.
That
Put
won't
in.
happen. Don't be ridiculous.
I know it won't happen, but I would love to see it. You know, they're old Walker Cup partners. They've known each other a long time. They grew up in the same golf teams and stuff like that. It would be a nice thing for them to do, because I think Johnny would flourish under that microscope. I think he'd enjoy it. And yeah, like, he deserves it. We need to put one of the Irish, like, imagine sticking Mark Power out with Rory McIlroy. Mark Power, in fairness, the draw he should get in the Irish Open is Harrington.
Yeah, he
That
should
would help
do.
him. They need to look at this, and
especially after
help
playing
these
Walker
guys.
Cup. You're on the map to a certain degree.
Absolutely,
Like, you know.
Absolutely. You learn so much from it. But
Speaking of another guy who said finishing strong, like John Murphy, 2 cuts in a row.
Yep.
Obviously, he doesn't really want to be celebrating making cuts. He has much higher aspirations, but he's finishing his Friday rounds very well.
yeah, well,
Which I think is
he took
really
the time
good to
that he
see.
needed to take. He's got on top of whatever issues he thought he had there, and he's dealt with them very publicly, and he's kicking on, and that's all you can ask. Like,
only thing you'd say, it didn't quite happen for him over the weekend, but that was a cut made in a big DP World Tour event, and like, he's got momentum now behind him going into the Irish Open this week.
yeah. You've on the DP World Tour event then as well. So, like, obviously you're talking the Omega Masters. Harrington finished well, did like 65 to finish on the Sunday. Is good. He's shown signs. He knew his Ryder Cup aspirations were dead in the water a few weeks ago, but like, he still rose to the occasion. Tom McKibben, 62, like, serious going. Did you look at his scorecard?
Yeah, it's pretty.
He had
pretty
11
scandalous,
birdies in
like.
his last 14 holes. Like, he just went mental around the middle of the round.
He had 6 in a row either side of the turn, and then he finished at 5 and 6.
Like, it's frightening how talented that kid
after
is.
shooting 3 over on the Saturday.
Yeah. But like, we're going on, like, we've spent, where are we now? We're 50 minutes. We're going on about, like, we've listed off, like, elite amateur women, you know, with like Sarah Byrne. We're going up to Leona, Olivia Mehaffey.
Mahaffey's back in the game.
She's
now.
back in the game. Like, John Murphy's there. Like, we have Caldwell showing signs. We've Tom McKibben kicking on, shooting 62s. The older guys, then Harrington, like, showing he's still, like, from top to bottom. Has Irish golf ever had a deeper gene pool of unbelievably talented people that are just kicking on a global scale?
I wouldn't go that far.
No, we are.
Yeah,
Like,
it's obviously been a great week, but we still have an issue with like what's below McIlroy, Lowry, Power. Like, obviously McKibben's there now as well, but we still have issues in depth wise. But like, it was a very good week for Irish golf, and what happened at the Ryder Cup?
Is that a nice way of telling me to calm down and get a drink?
Yourself.
Just chill the fuck out.
Just relax now for a few minutes. Like.
Right, I'll just take deep breaths there. Sorry.
Let's see how many missed the cut this week. No, but it is. But like, it is great to see so many Irish.
I'm meant to be the common sense one here, not you.
It is great to see so many Irish players playing this week in the K Club, and after having a great week or great couple of weeks as well. Like, there's a feel good factor like that. Lots of these guys can do well. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, I need to cool the jets a little, but like, I'm just excited.
Tom Hoagie's playing. It's going to be an unreal week. It's going to be an unreal week.
If he keeps the shirt on. Right, in Roundup, anything else to cover in Roundup?
Well, there were a few Scratch Cup wins over the weekend. Rob Moran followed up his Irish Close win with the Scratch Cup win in Dunleary, and Anna Ebom won the ladies' version. It's an interesting one. They both attracted very good fields ahead of the AIG finals coming up. Jake Foley won by 8 shots in Mallow, and David Kitt won in Castle Troy. That was pretty much it.
Yeah. Right. Heroes and villains. The piece everyone waits around for. Do you know what? I'm gonna go first with my hero for the week.
Go on.
And it's an unusual one. I'm gonna give it to Keegan Bradley. He took his Ryder Cup snub like an absolute hero. He just admitted, I'm not part of the clique. The post that he put up online with his stuff, he still hasn't opened a suitcase since Medina in 2012.
That was really
very tough to see, and very
stuff
he's just not part of that clique that's there. I feel for him, and he took it like a pro. He didn't bitch and moan publicly anyway, and I'll give him the hero of the week.
I have 2 heroes. well, I could say all 4 Irish lads in the World Cup, but Mark Power and Liam Nolan in particular, just for the 4 birdie stretch on Sunday morning. Like, the shot Mark Power played into 11 to set up the birdie to kick-start was just outrageous. Like, lads were coming like 60 yards short of that green, not even getting up to the top tier sometimes. So that was a great shot, great week. On villain, I don't really have too many villains.
I've one villain.
I was in quite a nice and sanitised environment for the weekend.
Now, I have a villain, Ryanair. When I seen what happened over the weekend, I know, they delayed your flight last night. They delayed
my flight, yeah.
Right,
but
what happened with Ian St. John? So
Terrible.
He's booked in, flying from Cork Airport over to Formby Hall for an EDGA event this week. Like, he shouldn't have to take, for anyone that doesn't know Ian St. John, like, he's paralysed. He is a PGA pro, but he was paralysed a few years ago, and his story's online if you want to read up on it. But he's getting back into golf now, playing these EDGA events. He has a specialised mobility scooter that he uses for playing golf that actually stands him up and does stuff. So he'd all the paperwork done to fly across, everything done, went to the airport like
6 hours early.
6 hours before his flight or something like that. And they wouldn't let him on.
You even have to do that.
They wouldn't let him on. He went there just thinking now he was trying to catch a Liverpool match. He's a big Liverpool fan. And yeah, they wouldn't let him on. And like, literally, I didn't know what to say. I tried to ring him there this morning. I know he was on to Aer Lingus trying to get on and trying to get across. I hope he has got across and he's got to go and play in the EDGA event this week in Formby Hall. But yeah, Ryanair are a fucking disgrace. Like, that should not be happening. It should not take someone to have to go online to do that. They're an easy villain this week, but it's low hanging fruit. But yeah, hopefully Ian got over. Hopefully, if you have any choice, avoid Ryanair. If you have any choice, avoid them. I say that I'm booking flights left, right, and centre with them, but like, sometimes you just don't have a choice. But yeah, it's just bad form. You just can't be at that sort of stuff, and it is discrimination. He had all the paperwork there. He had everything done. They just won't let him on.
What a sour note to end on, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. It's sad. Really good podcast. Really good chat.
We started off sour about Morocco.
Irish golf is a disaster. It's in a mess. You have me now. You have me soured.
Leeds didn't win. Like, you must be pissed off.
No, Leeds didn't lose. You have to look at the positivity. 0-0 draw with Sheffield Wednesday is okay. You know, HMS 15th in the league.
He's 15th.
Yeah, we're 15th, I think. Yeah, we're flying. But surely 6 points off automatic.
Double relegation.
We're grand. 6 points off automatic. Right now, I think that's a wrap for this week. Yeah,
that's it.
Right, and another big week anyway with the Horizon Irish Open. I won't be here this time next week. Ronan will be doing something with Mark. I'm off on my holidays for a couple of weeks, so yeah, toodle pip.
See you after.
See you after. Right, cheers for tuning in, and we'll chat to you in some shape or form next week after the Irish Open for a recap of that. So, talk to you soon.